Hello, good evening, welcome, how do you do? My name is Paul, I'm also called Knack Knack. I do the daily teasers. I don't know if you've seen those go past, but they're possibly worth a look if you like a brain teaser quiz. I also talk about film and TV shows I've watched. I am not rushed at the moment. I'm possibly going to burble, but I've just seen what's at the moment is my favourite TV show, Penny Dreadful, City of Angels. Like I say, I'm not feeling rushed at the moment, but I am feeling tired, so if I start burbling on at all sorts of rates, slap me. At any rate, tonight I've watched some TV, and I've watched the last episode of current favourite, Penny Dreadful, City of Angels. I've watched episode 10 of the finale, called Day of the Dead. Let's get a move on, shall we? Episode 10, Day of the Dead, opens with a by now familiar summary of earlier episodes, including mentioning last week's shock lynching of the character of Diego. It then fades to black, to the shadows, which is when we see Santa Muerte arriving out of the dark and into the depths of the Crimson Cat Club. Tiago and Molly, Daniel Zavato and Carrie Vache, are dancing quietly away as he tells her of the old Mexican-American tradition of the Day of the Dead. It's only then that the lovers are interrupted by a desperate Lewis Mitchell, Detective Mitchell, played by Nathan Lane, bringing the bad news of Diego's death. Only seconds before a messenger brings the same news to Florico, Sebastian Chacon, and Rio, Natalie Dormer. News that sets the inhabitants of the cat very aflame, much like the streets of Los Angeles. The news provokes an all-out race riot, one that almost kills Peter Kraft and his family. In the wake of those riots, Councillor Townsend rejoices as martial law gives him a far more big measure of power. I've just looked at my script there. I've actually written it down as marital law, which could have some strange consequences. At any rate, let's move on here. Elsa, Natalie Dormer again, is finally able to persuade Peter, Rory Kinnear, that basically joining up the Nazi party is the only way to keep their blended family safe from the rampaging hordes, something Rory is seriously not happy about. In the aftermath of an intense conversation in another part of town, Tiago heads back home, only to find Detective Lewis Mishner and Benny Bertman, Brad Garrett, hold up with Brian, the engineer they're trying to hide from the Nazis. Lewis and Benny need Tiago's help, as they need to get Brian to Mexico. Brian does not know what's in store for him. Unlike Sister Molly, who's taken fate into her own hands on the Day of the Dead itself. It leaves Tiago grieving on the Vega family's holiest night, and on the following day, a day when Councillor Townsend sends in the bulldozers to the Vegas community, it leaves Tiago and Michner swearing revenge. Because as Tiago puts it in a big climactic speech, as Tiago puts it, they're not building roads, they're building walls. Now, was Day of the Dead a good finale? Was this first Penny Dreadful City of Angels a good series? What's going to happen in Series 2? I have no idea about Series 2, but let's cover other areas first, shall we? Yes, Day of the Dead is a superb finale. It's a superb a superb finale. It's a superb episode. There's raw emotion there. We see, spoilers, we see the death of Sister Molly, and it's a sad death along the lines of last week's death of Diego. He was lynched. She, in her baptismal pool, takes her own life. That's sad, but possibly not as sad as finally finding out who and why, who killed James Hazlitt and why they killed him and his family. The mystery is solved, but the killer, unfortunately, still remains free. In other parts of the story, we see the Vega family, Tiago in particular, but all of the family in general, they've changed. Maria, Raul, Tiago, Mateo, Josefina, they've all changed. They've all been reconciled, they're all at peace, but not without being put through the ringer over the course of these 10 episodes. Right from the start, right at the end when they know there's more to come, ultimately, they're still at peace. They're stronger because of what's happened, but they know there's another fight coming. Lewis Mishler, Nathan Lane, definitely has changed. The battling little blighter has had to take his personal fight to the Nazis, to crooks, to killers, and he's had to take that fight to places where he's really not wanted to go, including a very Faustian deal with Benny Bergman. That's one thing, and the way Lane plays that is, it seems this little bit of a deal, this little bit of corruption is comparatively mild in comparison to the killings he's had to do, the frame-ups he's had to do, and the killing at the end of Brian Connick, the engineer. All of that lot is performed with the grace and the elegance and like some of the best TV acting you're going to see. Lane does it with his face more than he does with the voice. It's the look on his face when he's pulling the gun on the engineer that is something to watch. When he's watching the lynching, when he's framing up Diego 3 or 4 episodes ago. I've come away from Penny Dreadful City of Angels convinced I've seen a fantastic ensemble cast. Adriana Barraza as Maria, the Vega family matriarch. Daniel Zavata as the second brother, as Detective Vega. Natalie Dormer in her 4 different roles over the course of the series. Personal favourite there was Alex. That little mousy little Alex is the hardest nut on the block. Those 3 in particular have stood out. With that said, Nathan Lane, as far as I'm concerned, has stolen the acting show. Best actor on the block. Quite simply that. Now this, of course, all of this burbling, for me, leaves one question. All of this at the moment leaves me with just the one question. Will there and should there be a Series 2? I don't know. I believe the show's writer, John Logan, has set things up so that there could well easily be a second series. I would welcome it. I would love to see how the story continues. But I'm very aware that, like so many shows before it, a second series would really need to be good to match this first one. The original Penny Dreadful did it. Torchwood did it going from Series 2 to Series 3. There's various others as well. But that's kind of my point. A second series would really need to be good to match this first series. As things stand, it doesn't matter if there's just one series of Penny Dreadful City of Angels. It's an absolutely blinding series. It's beautifully done. It's stunningly acted. If it doesn't turn Nathan Lane into a star, I don't know what will. But either way, it's a series I'm glad to have seen and happy to recommend to you. Right at the moment, at the end of this video, the only thing I have to add, or the only last question I can ask, what the hell do I watch next Sunday? We'll have to see. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. Come back again next time. We'll see what's on TV. Take care now.